Hi everybody, my name's Carly Bravo and today I'll be talking about human trafficking. I know this can be it is a tough topic to talk about, but it's important for all of us to know what goes on in human trafficking, how we could avoid it, how we could help others, and just learn from this. So, what is human trafficking? Human trafficking is considered a crime, and it's when one forces another individual to forcefully engage in any sexual activity or to sell themselves, um, sexually harassed and abused. So, sex trafficking individuals range and vary from children, women, and men. So, oftentimes people tend to think that only women are sex trafficked or only children are sex trafficked, and oftentimes they forget that men could be a part of this too. And then also that it's unfortunate because children oftentimes don't have a voice and they don't know how to voice themselves because they're so young. They haven't learned right from wrong. They may know that it is wrong, and they may realize that that's not how one should be treated, that we should all be respected, but again, like, they don't know how to voice or how to really say no, and oftentimes just be forced even worse. So it's very unfortunate. So the case study I decided to do this on is a young female. She's only 17 years old. She's from Nigeria and her name is Mary. So she left her hometown because she felt like she could not succeed there in any way she wanted to. So she met this woman who promised her that she would have a better life if she went to Europe. So, of course, Mary thought that this was a good idea in the beginning, and the lady had set her up with this man named Ben, and Ben had zero good intentions. Little did she know. I'm sorry. So, Ben forced her to engage in sexual intercourse with him. He had told her that if she didn't do it with him, that she would have to do it with somebody else, and it would be even worse. And also, if she didn't engage in any of these activities, that he wouldn't take her to Europe, where she thought that she would have a better life. So little did she know that she was going to be used as prostitution. After all they put her through, they demanded money since they took her on, quote unquote, a trip. And if she didn't pay the amount, that they would go to her hometown and abuse her mother, which they ended up doing. The last thing Mary wanted to do was to, quote, stand on the side of the road and sell my body, unquote. But if it meant saving that my mom, it's what had to be done. So Mary prayed and prayed that these days would be over. She mentions that even if it was just one day, she just wished that all the pain and suffering would end. So unfortunately, women, even children, men like Mary, go through these things where they think that these people have good intentions, and unfortunately they don't. Then they get caught in these situations where they're led to prostitution, or these horrible individuals just abuse and harass and use them for pleasure, and these women, men, and children are forced to oftentimes have little food, horrible living environments, no money, no voice even, and they're just taken advantage of. So what diversity and inclusion challenges has Mary faced? I believe that she had faced social stigma, stereotyping, and prejudice. So to go in a little bit more in detail with those. Social stigma, because she was negatively labeled. Instead of being looked at as a victim, oftentimes these individuals are labeled as prostitutes and they had zero intention of being one, like Mary. She was stereotyped because she's a female, an easy target, also being an immigrant and trying to get somewhere to better her future. Lastly, prejudice, based off her gender, race, and along with her socioeconomic status. So like I said, she was an immigrant. She wanted a better life. She thought if she went to Europe and leaving Nigeria, that she would have that better life. What is a most inspirational part of Mary's story. I believe that even though she felt like she was at rock bottom, didn't have a voice, didn't have a say, being used, taken advantage of, being told that they would have to do something to her mom if Mary didn't pay up for the trip, quote, trip. She still had a positive mindset, and she also took it day by day in hopes that things would just end. And then many important things I learned by researching Mary's story is that I learned how often sex trafficking occurs, what it can look like in the process, and mind games that an individual can go through. So just like Mary, she just wished that even if for a day it just ended, rather than the whole thing ending, it was just for one day. She just wanted that pain and suffering to end. Steps that can ensure that people do not have a similar experience in the future is to prioritize your safety and your surroundings, be aware of your surroundings. Do not give out personal information to people you do not know in times like these. Especially, there's so many people that could pretend like they're selling something, or they go to your door to sell something, and oftentimes people open the door fully, and then that's when they could get taken, or they know your schedule because they see your cars all the way, or like your shades are open. So it's important to know to switch things up, or again, just be aware of your surroundings, and do not wander in secluded areas, especially being a female, where we could be oftentimes not as strong as these men, who could just grab us. It's important to know how to fight back, how to have a voice, how to seek help, and to just report anything that goes wrong. If you have a bad feeling, you have to trust your gut feeling. Take it to the police station. If you're out somewhere and you feel someone's following you at a store, it's important to tell a security guard, hey, walk into my car. And again, I think top priority is just to prioritize your safety and be aware of your surroundings. So it's important to be mindful of everybody's story. You never know what somebody is going through or what they have gone through. So it's important to never judge somebody. It's important to listen, especially if somebody is willing to talk about it. It's important for them to get it off their chest. Important for them to explain like what goes on and how we could just end and stop human trafficking at the end of the day. Some questions I have for Mary would be, how long were you involved in human trafficking? How has life been after transitioning back into a safe environment? And what would her advice be to anyone who has gone through such a tough time? And that concludes my presentation about human trafficking. So just like a little end note again, just prioritize your safety, help everybody, and love everybody. Thank you. Bye.